Greetings, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. We are very excited to present these wonderful projects by the young filmmakers, and I'm here to introduce a video from Nathaniel, who is the instructor for the advanced class, who can't be here today. I'm instructor for the youth intro documentary class, which we'll have a chance to view at 11. So let's hear from Nathaniel before we introduce the advanced class filmmakers for the first film, Angel's Voice, and stay tuned.
Hello, everyone, and congratulations on completing your films in Angel's Voice and Connection. Riley, Julianne, Jaden, Hayden, Albert, Riley, and Annika, Yezi, and Julianne. Congratulations on completing it. I'm very proud of the films that you've made today. I'm sorry that I can't be there today. I'm on set of an American Film Institute film today where I'm doing sound, doing what we love. I've had 3 COVID tests in order to be here. Each one of your films demonstrates a unique mastery of the craft of filmmaking, and I encourage each and every one of you to continue in the discipline. Congratulations on your film. It's not something that everybody can accomplish, and you've accomplished it at a very young age, and so I'm very proud of each and every one of you. And I'm a resource moving forward. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions regarding filmmaking, whether from a creative or a technical standpoint. And I hope you and all of your friends and family really enjoy enjoyed your films today. And I'm thinking about you all day today. And take care and have fun and keep making films. And I hope to see you back at the Teen Producers Program later this summer. Anyway, take care, congrats, and talk to you soon. Bye. Cut.
I want to introduce Albert, who is the producer and sound person for An Angel's Voice, Jaden, who is the director, and Hayden, who's DP. It's a wonderful film. You guys did such an incredible job. I'm very proud of all the work you did. I know what kind of hard work it takes to put a film like this together, from script to working, on the set and pre-production and getting the actors. Just fantastic. So we're looking forward to seeing it, and then we'll have a question and answer for you after. I think, is it Hayden that's not here? We've got, yeah, so hopefully Hayden will pop in. But anyway, let's roll the film, Moises. I'm eager for everybody to see. Oh, actually, before we do, who wants to just share a summary of the film? Jaden? Albert? Okay.
Hi, so just to start off, my name is Albert Amador Jr., and I was the producer and sound recordist for An Angel's Voice. And, first of all, I just want to say it was such an honor to work on this film with the casting crew, and we're just excited to share it with you. And my understanding of it, sometimes on our own personal journeys, we need others to help guide us and stick with us on our way to find what we need. And this is one of them.
Does anybody want to give a summary of the film?
Sure, yeah. So we'll see in just, but pretty much there is teens that for some reason or something, and they are able to read this story that you'll figure out, as well as they have someone that kind of helps them and guides them through it.
Julianne, did you want to share?
No, she kind of just covered it, but I guess kind of like what Albert said, it was great working with y'all, and I hope to work with you in the future.
Let me read a summary of it. It's when a grieving teen searches for a magical book To reconnect with her lost mother, she meets a confused teen searching for the same book. They must find a way to work together to unlock the book's magic to heal and grow together. It's a wonderful story. So we're ready to roll, Moises.
Maybe like an angel's voice. God will use my words to help others.
Excuse me. Do you have a second before you close?
Yes, I do.
I'm looking for a special book. A slave narrative called An Angel's Voice.
Did you say An Angel's Voice?
Yeah, I did. Why?
I'm looking for the same book.
Well, you came to the right place. This is the only known copy of An Angel's Voice. Unfortunately, it's not for sale. Do you mind sharing with me why you desire this book?
Oh, I'm related to the writer.
Well, I've been searching for this book for 3 years. That's why I need it.
I understand. This book is meaningful to you both, but you have to read it together. Here. If you need anything, come back to the store. I'm Miss Faye.
Well, we might as well find somewhere to sit. I'm Andre, by the way. You can read it after me.
I'm Dominique. I bet you're a great person and all, but I kind of need to read this by tomorrow, so let's take turns. There's no words.
No words? Can't be. Why would she give us a blank book? Let me see, you're probably missing something. No words? I don't see anything either.
Let's just ask Miss Faye.
No, I'm sure we can figure this out.
Fine. What ideas you got?
Maybe we need to position the book a certain way, or it might need some certain lighting?
No, wait, let me see it.
No, I got it.
No. Did you see that? Weird. Do you think it's magic or something?
I don't know, but I think that's a clear sign that we need to read it.
I agree.
Can I ask you a question? Why is this book so important to you?
That's kind of a personal question, don't you think?
And? You said you've been searching for this book. Why?
Well, I need this book for a special family occasion. That's why it's important.
What occasion?
Hello? Hey, Dad. Yeah, I'll pick up Mom's birthday daisies. And can you tell the boys to set out their black suits? And don't forget your suit. Thank you. Love you.
So, was the occasion...
Tomorrow is my mom's birthday. She passed 3 years ago, and she really loved collecting Black literature, especially slave narratives. I would really love to read An Angel's Voice because she never was able to find it, and read her the passages as a gift.
Wow. We better start reading it.
I know that people will never read this, but...
I know people will probably never read this, but it's important to write about my life. They may take my spirit, but they never take my soul. It's what my daddy tells me, my mama always said. She died when I was a babe. I never did know her, but I can feel her right next to me. Though Mama died when I was young, I always had enough love through my daddy. My daddy protected me with every bone of his body. He was my true home. When I was 4, my daddy taught me my letters. He said the smartest thing a person can do is learn. So I did. And now, I can write about my life, my love for my daddy, and my peace through all the pain. Maybe like an angel's voice. God will use my words to help others.
I never thought of a person being a home, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, my family is my home.
I'm listening.
I've been researching my family history, and I received some information that I'm related to the writer. So I searched for an angel's voice to learn more.
You don't get along with your parents?
No, that's not it at all. I love them. We're very close.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, why is it so important to trace your family history?
I'm adopted. I needed to learn more about my family. Why was finding this book so important to you?
I was inspired to find an angel's voice because it was important to my mom.
I guess we both had our reasons. Well, let's keep reading. Who knows what else we can learn?
No better time than the present.
Wow, that was awesome. Oh my gosh. My heartstrings, you guys, the music, the characters, the acting, the story. I know very little about what went into that. So the audience will and the viewers will have a chance to ask some questions. But I wanted to ask you a question about who wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, I wrote the screenplay at the beginning of like the class. The inspiration of the story came from a book I read last year during the fall. For my 14th birthday, I had got multiple books from my parents about books that were influential in their lives. And I read a book called Redemption Song by Dr. Patrice Berry, which is a beautiful story between these people and the storyline. And I thought, wow, I could do something that kind of takes parts of it and my own kind of spin on it. So yeah, that's where this came from.
That is amazing. You know, writing a short film is very difficult. You know, even coming up with the idea and being able to narrow that down into a 5-minute film is such a feat. How did you, what did you do to help, synthesize that wonderful idea that you had?
Honestly, I just kept in mind the time limit I had, and so it was a lot of going back and taking a bunch of things out and just like focusing on the main points that I wanted to get across, which was not easy at all, but it's something I just had to kind of work at and just keep going at.
Did you have help from the class in narrowing it down?
A little bit. After we were writing our scripts, we did come back for like kind of constructive criticism and thoughts that they thought was good, and then from instructors saying which parts that they think I should highlight on. So yeah.
Is wonderful. I mean, I again want to say how complicated it is to make a short film for viewers to know what goes into it in such a short period of time. You did such a fantastic job, and I know that you had to get actors and auditions. So we'll have a chance for the viewers to ask some questions. Let's see. Let's ask the audience to send some questions now via the chat, and I'll read them out, and then you all can answer. Let's see. We have a question, do we? Anybody out there? We're waiting for your great questions. I know somebody has a question. Just waiting for that audience response. And if not, right away, I'm sure that there'll be many. I want to, oh, here we go. Let's see. I don't see the questions. Yeah. Private chat. Let's see. Try one more time. Here we go. All right. Sorry about that. We've got the technical. Yeah, I'm not seeing the questions here. Oh, here we go. I'm having a hard time seeing my here. All right, here's a question. How long did it take you to make the film?
I think all of my group can kind of talk about this because it's like a big collaborative effort. We started this in like early February, and so we had like a month to film, but we only had 3 filming days, and then we had like around a month to edit. Um, as well as for the script, it started off with a week of writing and then going back to make some changes. But I think my group has some else other things about that too.
Great. Oh, I want to some comments here too. So proud of you, Jay. Big things ahead for you. Here's another comment. Powerful music, as usual, Kendrick. Wow. So what was the best part of the filmmaking process for you? We are asked. What was your favorite part?
I think we can all speak on this. But for me, probably the best part was like in the first day, it was kind of chaotic, kind of just filming and like learning all the aspects of that. But when the actors said the first lines and like you see them acting it out, because in your head you kind of see it, but it's different when other people interpret that. So that was one of the best parts for me. But yeah.
Albert?
I'm gonna say what the best part for me was getting to know the actors really well, and knowing what their part was, going off like what Jaden said, and you just like like having like just observing them, how they would act in the film, how they would process, how they grow. That was the best part for me.
It's a really fun thing to work with actors. It's a real skill set to learn. Julianne, do you want to share?
Yeah, I think I wasn't there for most of the filming days. I would say collaborating. I know like nowadays, especially with COVID and everything, it's hard to collaborate making a short film over Zoom, and especially like outside of like the Team Producers Project area where we could get hands-on on the equipment right away and then start working. But I think slowly after doing Team Producers Project last semester as well, I think we're slowly starting to learn how to do that, and so I think the collaborating part was one of my favorite parts of doing it.
Yeah, working as a team. That's one beautiful thing about filmmaking, is working as a team. I have had that same feeling over the years of my filmmaking. It's one of the most amazing things is having that collaboration, different aspects of talent, and it's an amazing process. How did in that collaborative effort, how did the adults support you through the process? How did your instructor help you? How did you feel supported?
For me, it was kind of sometimes I was little unsure of my story and whether I was getting my point across. So going to my parents or my instructors and them like reinforcing that this is your story that you want to tell and tell it, and them showing me different parts of writing, like a lot of things like we have to talk about conflict a lot, and that kind of took me a minute to kind of figure out what that was for my story. So them kind of giving me that support as well as like different tips here and there.
Albert, do you want to share?
Yeah, for me, I know because since like I was a sound recordist on the film, so it was kind of challenging for me to do. But luckily, Nathaniel was always like there to help guide me through it. And by the end of the day, everything went out well. Not just he wouldn't help me, but he would also like guide the whole entire cast and crew on what would be right, what would look good, blah blah blah. But yeah.
Was that the first time you did sound on a set?
Yeah, it was.
Fabulous. It's a very important part of filmmaking, as you've learned, I'm sure. How about you, Julianne? Did you feel any particular support from any adults in the process, from Nathaniel?
I did. I was when I had a busy schedule during the time of producing and everything. So what I did was I kind of helped a little bit with the tips and stuff because I had a lot of experience doing filmmaking. I did it for 7 years. So I have I'm a video major at my high school, so I kind of helped with that through a little bit, but I also had help with Nathaniel just starting out with when I was doing my story and whatnot, but until we were doing groups and whatnot. So, but yeah.
Great. If you could take one nugget away from the learning process, like that really stands out, what would that one thing be?
Go ahead.
No, I was wondering if it was me, but no, Jaden, go.
We'll do a circle.
Yeah, a thing I took away, there's multiple. There's a lot to making a film. Each week I was learning new things, being like, oh, wait, that's a thing I have to do? Okay, alrighty. That sometimes certain things in your stories do have to be compromised to make sure, especially with the length, but that you're highlighting certain points. That's something that I kind of had to struggle with. That it is a really big collaborative process, so it's okay to let other people kind of take control of that and kind of have faith in them. But you should also keep in mind that sometimes you do have to do a little bit more because it's part of your story, it's a part of you. I felt filmmaking is a very vulnerable art. I feel that you're just putting what is in your head and your heart out there. So I really had to keep that in mind. And that I also learned that this is something that I may do in the future because I'm very passionate about this.
I could see that. And, you know, I could see that the passion and the interest and the curiosity and what you said about learning that you can rely on and trust your teammates. That's a really important part that we can't do it all, right? We have this certain skills and we need to trust that our team is going to work with us to make the best film. I always see it as sort of a symphony, you know, different instruments, the filmmaking process, and it all comes together in this great orchestra. So I'm glad that you're going to continue with this. How about you, Albert? What was your takeaway, your gem?
My takeaway was, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again? I'm very sorry.
No, that's okay. What is your, like, what in the learning process, like if you could take one gem of what you learned, you know, the thing that really stands out?
I mean, the best skill, actually, yes. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of like a thought process where I have to think about it. But
No worry.
the thing that I learned, I guess, was like how to say, like, producing, like, communication is really the key to everything, because I wrote it down, sorry. Because since there was like a lot of uncontrollable things in the process of making this film, we kind of just had to like go with the flow with it, and we were willing to come up with new ideas on how to tackle different problems.
That's great. Solutions, communication. Yeah, that's great. That's really important. How about you, Julianne?
I would say while we were editing and while I was watching Jada doing the editing process, there were a few things about editing in Adobe Premiere that I didn't know. And like, I didn't know you could color grade certain clips and stuff. And so I thought that was super interesting and definitely something I'll do in the future for future films. And then just other stuff for editing as well. So yeah. Definitely, that was one of the things.
That's a great program, and it's not easy to learn. I mean, there's a lot of little elements of it, right? Yeah. So cutting down editing a film is really challenging, right? This is a question here, especially when you have so much good footage. How did you make those choices?
Um, well, it kind of depended on how good the actual shot was. Like sometimes you notice there's things in the corner, or we had to do a line over or something like that. So that part. But I think after like, doing it a little bit, I had sort of a clear image of what I wanted it to kind of look like. I have to say for like the editing part, the hardest part was actually syncing the footage with the sound because I messed up a bunch of times and I had to do it a bunch of times. So it's kind of like the hardest thing about the editing. But yeah, that was kind of it was kind of
Anybody? So who actually did the editing? Was it one person?
yeah,
Wow.
I did the editing and then we would come into class and I would share my screen and then we would kind of collaborate with that.
Great. Yeah, that's the sound part and doing that syncing and all that. That sound is a whole element that has to be really it's a detail and an important one. I just wanted to say that there's somebody from India saying greetings from Mumbai. Yay, hi there. Wonderful. We've got a global audience here. How neat. Let's see. It's great to hear that you used Adobe Premiere. Oh, this is Milia from Adobe. Wow. I will share it with the Premiere Pro team. Fantastic. I love that. I am going to look for a couple more questions. But one thing I did want to ask is who did the music? The music was wonderful. Was it composed or was it Julianne?
My dad did the music. He is an artist, and it was kind enough for like I didn't have to think about copywriting anybody. So, yeah, that's all my dad that we kind of put that together. Well, he did most of the work.
Wow. Family, yay. Julianne, did you want to say something?
I did not know that. That was kind of cool. So I'm just a little surprised. That was awesome.
There is a real difference between canned music and music that is composed. Did your dad compose to the picture, or did he compose and then you added the music? Because sometimes,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Yeah, I had sent him the film, and then so he thought of different beats and sounds that he thought would go well with it. And so we would go in and we would kind of hear all the audio together and then chose it like that.
Is that the first time he did a score?
Honestly, I think he has that in his future and maybe doing stuff with that, but at least like working with me, yeah.
Fabulous. Somebody's asking here, did you make any compromises to your original story?
Yeah, I think we all had to kind of make compromises for our story, whether that was like in writing it or editing it or just like filming it in general. Um, I really want to do a lot of backstory between the characters, but I didn't have that much time to do that, as well as maybe sometimes we didn't have enough time while we were shooting in different places. So that was kind of like the compromising for the story, but my other teammates might have some on that too.
Anybody want to share? Nope. Anybody? Nope. All right. What were your biggest challenges?
I feel like there were so many. Go ahead, Al.
I would just have to say that, the biggest challenge in my take of it, like sometimes keeping track of like all of the equipment because we basically had to transport it house to house, and I believe the three of us we don't drive, so it was kind of hard when we didn't have a car, so we would have to like work it out with our parents in terms of transportation.
Oh yeah. Getting to the location, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think another thing was
Mhm.
that it was really a lot of things uncontrollable, COVID being one of them. The weather, the first day, it was raining, it was sunny, it was cold, it was everything under the sun. So that part wasn't really easy. And I think sometimes for me was just like being willing just to kind of put myself out there because I had to push my comfort level a lot during this project.
And you filmed in the rain, or did
A
you wait for?
little, we had to like, for some of them, it was raining too hard that we had to like put the equipment away, but then we were able to come back.
Great. Yeah, those things, the weather, sometimes we forget that that's an element that we have to think about, right? Let's see. What was the most fun? Somebody's asking. Julianne, or Albert, do you want to take a shot at that?
I would say again, for me it was collaborating. I wasn't there for set. That's what I would say was the hard part for me. Was we had to get someone to help. I was supposed to be cinematographer. We had to get someone to help because I wasn't there. I was busy on a trip and stuff. So, but I would say collaborating was the most fun for me. While I wasn't able to go to set, I could still help collaborate and help whatever is needed with my expertise or anything. So, but that was fun for me.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I'm just saying there's so many comments of how great the film was that I can't read them all, but I just want you to know there's a lot of people saying amazing, great music, amazing work, congratulations as a team. I don't see any questions about the acting, but I did want to ask that, if that's okay, how you went about finding the cast.
That was a whole new process. For most of it, we use a website called Backstage, where you put your film out there, and then actors are able to choose like, hey, I want to be part of this. This is my information. This is my headshot. And then from then, you have to kind of pick and choose with actors you think might be good for it as well, and then going to self-tapes with giving them the script. So as well as like people we knew that are in like enjoy acting or are actor. So that was like a whole new thing because we didn't have that much time. So kind of under like a constraint with time. But after that, once I had the actors, I was so happy. And from then we went on to like have Zoom meetings about like the script as well, calling them.
And did you all choose the actors together? How did that work?
It was mostly me, but Albert and I did like look at some tapes and be like, "Oh, we really like this," and that's kind of how the ending result came.
So, and coordinating all this, Albert, you were a producer, and Julianne, you were, helping produce and all. How did you find that process challenging to coordinate everything?
I don't think so. I don't think it was a hard thing to do. We all, on the first like process when we got into our groups, we all got our numbers and we all created a group chat and we all started like talking. We would set up Zooms and stuff. So I think doing that part was it was not that hard or anything.
I have a question about, did you ever make a movie before? I know, Julianne, you said you did. And what tips would you give to other young filmmakers?
I would say oof, that's kind of one to like think about. I would definitely say I started filmmaking 7th grade in my middle school, and it was definitely a fun thing to do, creating a story, and I just continued going on to SCPA as a film major. So I would say definitely start. I would say for me, I would say start young. You may never know. Like sometimes it will change in the future. Like I'm switching to photography now. It's things you don't know what you'll find, and you don't know what stories you'll create, and just keep on creating. It's an amazing art form, and I think it's a very important one, especially how you can film, how you can put the image that you see in your head on the screen. So definitely keep creating, keep thinking of a story, and then who knows, sometime it'll come to life. So yeah.
That's encouraging. And Jaden, Albert, what would you say now that you're Jaden? Have you made films before? And Albert?
Sorta. I did one of the classes, the intro classes, like a couple years ago. So I worked on a documentary, but it is so different than this process because there's just so many things to think about. What I give advice to other filmmakers is that you can only do so much reading, so much looking at videos. You really just have to go out there and grab a camera or just start writing stuff down. You're going to have challenges, but no one's going to be perfect the first time. Between us and like we had actors that were coming down from LA, and so it kind of shows you that there are people that want to hear your story or be a part of your group to make your story. And even though you may have challenges, like for us, we wanted to film in a bookstore, but because of COVID, we couldn't really do that. But just do it. It's going to feel so good once you have your stuff out there, and there will be people that enjoy it.
Great. Okay. And then I think one last question here. Yeah. Albert, let's hear from you about your filmmaking that you've done before. And
So no, yeah, I was gonna say I made last. So I took like I took the TPP class intro to documentary last spring and the summer, and one group and I, we made a documentary short in the spring, and then in the summer I made a solo documentary short. So I'll just to say it's going off like what I have to say. It's like what Julianne said. You're like you're young. Just go out there, make a film. Break out of your character, be you. It's like you will face challenges, but it'll help you become a better person. It'll make you become more motivated on what to do. So yeah.
I love that. You're all so inspiring. I just want to I know that the audience is doing the same. Thank you so much. You're just, I think, got a great future ahead of you, and I know you'll keep moving forward with your filmmaking. Do you want to share one last thing before we say goodbye until your next film, hopefully with the Media Arts Center?
I think I said all I have to say. I'm excited to see the next film.
Yeah, you all did a great job. Thank you so much. I don't see any more questions here. So let's see. Oh, actually, I do have one more question here. What about festivals? Are you going to get your film in a festival at all?
I personally don't have the information that I hope, but I don't know yet. Probably.
Albert, have you had any interest in film festivals? There's a lot of wonderful film festivals for youth.
Right now, like what Jada said, I like at the moment I don't really know any like to submit this right now, but
In my multimedia class, we were talking about film festivals and stuff, and submissions and whatnot, and starting careers and all that stuff. And so I know quite a few film festivals. I know I have a list. So for my future film, for my film I'm working on right now, my episodic film, I'm definitely submitting to like Buffer Film Festival in Canada, and Ivy Awards. I've submitted to that one as well. So yeah.
Yeah, the Ivy Awards is something you could find out through the Media Arts Center, and Film Freeway. I think that the deadline is coming up for the Ivy Awards, but I would suggest looking into that. And then Film Freeway is another great resource for festivals for youth. So I would recommend, if you're interested, to pursue that. It's a lot of fun to be in a festival. Okay, well, thank you so much again. This has been just a great honor, and I've so enjoyed your film. And stay tuned for the next project, which is called Connection. So we'll be meeting the filmmakers there. Thank you. Well, hi there, Annika. And hi, Riley. And yeah, is it Yezi?
Yeah, it's Yezi.
Hi, Yezi. Well, I'm excited to show your film Connection. Does anybody want to share what the film's about?
Yeah. Connection is a short film I wrote surrounding the transcendent power of music. The story follows a professional ballerina and a gifted street musician as they intertwine their own personal stories and backgrounds. Their short but meaningful interaction describes what an impact a stranger's life and music can have on you.
We learned so much making this film, and we're really glad to share it with everyone. We also want to thank Digital Jim for this amazing opportunity, and thank you all so much for coming.
Hi, Riley. Did you want to say something?
Oh, hi, I'm Riley.
Hi, Riley. Well, I got to see your film yesterday, and it's just absolutely wonderful. It's very tender and just really well done. It just has a beautiful flow and very simple but elegant, and just I think the audience is really going to enjoy it. And then we'll have a chance for questions and answers after. Congratulations. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Wow, it is such an honor to be interviewing you today. I can't say enough how much of an inspiration you are. My niece is taking ballet lessons just because of you. She wants to be exactly like you when she grows up. I mean, you're the best ballet dancer out there. Sorry, I keep rambling. Shall we sit? Mm-hmm. I need to record this so I can quote you exactly. Do I have your consent? Yes, that's fine. Maya, you have the most amazing sense of fashion, from your vintage Chanels to your evocative streetwear. You always seem to capture such an effortless, feminine, chic look. Who are your style icons and what's your go-to outfit?
Well, I'd have to say Audrey for my style icon. Audrey Hepburn, of course, above all. My go-to look would be thrifted 501 Levi's, a white blouse, and a black heel.
Yeah, so Maya, what age did you start dancing?
Oh, I'd say around 5 or 6, honestly. You know, my mom, she always insisted on taking me to dance lessons, and some days I wouldn't want to go. And, you know, I'd always have some excuse, as kids do. But she really saw it in me, and yeah, now look where I am.
Yeah, Maya, was there ever a time when you thought you wanted to give up on ballet and do something totally different?
Yeah, I think for sure. Well, actually not too far from here. I had this audition. It didn't go too well. And anyway, I had this experience, and it's something I still think about to this day.
Hey, sweetie, how did your audition go?
It was okay. Yeah, it was whatever. I don't know, it's just so stupid. Like, this whole thing just feels so pointless. Ballet's not gonna get me a job. Art, or whatever. doesn't pay the bills. I just feel so lost.
Well, honey, I mean,
I gotta go. That was beautiful.
Thanks.
Where did you learn how to play?
From my father.
I was having the worst day. Your music, I really feel like I know you. Your music, it's art. It's just so inspiring.
When he was playing his music, I really felt like I knew him. It was amazing. I felt so out of touch with my soul, and hearing his music, it reconnected me to the feeling I get whenever I dance. Why I love dance.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Did you ever go back to meet him and tell him what an inspiration he was?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Fabulous. We have a lot of like clapping going on in the comments here. Lots of great job. Wow, that was so good. So beautifully written and directed. Wow, amazing how you work together. Wow. So there's a lot of that going on right now. So you guys, fabulous. They're coming in. Do you want to share with everybody what roles you played, Annika? Do you want to share, and Riley and Yezi?
Yeah, I wrote the story and I also directed it. Yezi was my cinematographer and DP, and Riley was in charge of sound. And then we all pretty much edited, but me and Yezi both worked on shot types and we both held camera too. So we worked on that together, but yeah.
Great. Hearing here is, let's see, congratulations on your beautiful film. Great storytelling, cinematography, and acting. The music and audio was excellent as well. Thanks for sharing your work. Great. So I would love for the viewers to start putting your questions into the chat so we can get the behind the scenes of how they put this all together. I did have while we're waiting for some questions, I did have a question about the music. So is the music that you use for the soundtrack the same as the person that was playing the instrument?
No, so we used like a Creative Commons website called Epidemic Sound, and we found like a copyrighted free music, and it's called Infinite Love by Vendilla, and yeah, that's how we found the music. But it was kind of challenging to make it look convincing that the guy in the movie was actually playing the music. So, but yeah.
Okay, well, here's a question. What inspired you to tell this story? That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, when we were creating scripts for this program, I was kind of thinking about all the unifying things in a film. Like, for example, in Whiplash, the feeling of like when you're drumming and it gets really, really fast, that's what like centers that whole movie. And I wanted some unifying things since it is a short film. I wanted that to be the center of what was going on. So I just thought, like, whenever I see a street musician on the street, the feeling that evokes, just seeing someone totally in their own world playing music, and that's what inspired me to write this story.
It's wonderful. Love that. What was the toughest part of the directing this film?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a director, you get everyone to work with you and people are happy to work with you, but everyone is looking to you to tell them what they need to do. So that's a challenge, just keeping it straight in your head, what you want from them, so that they can execute it properly. I think that was the biggest challenge. And then also just in COVID and everything, we had to change our script, or I had to change my script a little so that it would be COVID friendly. And everything had to be filmed outdoors too. And there was also some location changes because of location conflicts at Balboa Park. So that was another difficult thing, but yeah.
So you shot at Balboa Park?
Yeah, majority of it was at Balboa Park, and then we also shot at a neighborhood park.
Somebody's asking, where did you find all the terrific actors?
Yeah, so like Jaden's group, we also hired actors through Backstage. We basically just put a log line up of what our film was about, the actors that we needed, and we said that the location is in San Diego and it's a student nonprofit film, or not nonprofit, but non-paying film. And people just applied, and we had like over 100 actors apply, and we basically just, me and Yezi communicated with them and asked them for auditions and sent them the script and stuff like that, and we basically just worked back and forth and we got our actors. And yeah, they were all wonderful through this process, and I'm really glad we got to work with them.
Somebody's saying, who is the handsome guy playing the guitar?
That's Mr. Ken.
What's that?
Mr. Ken. He's a family friend who worked on it with us.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. He's probably listening to this now, right? Okay. So let's see. It is clear your attention to every detail, the actors, the shots, the music. Who wants to, Yezi or Riley, do you want to share a little bit about those details of working together, but with each element of the crew, paying attention to details and what that meant to you?
Yeah, especially because this was a 3-person crew. It was really hard to really manage everything and really just micromanage every like aspect of the film, because we had, like Annika said, a lot of trouble with the location and just getting the performances and just making everything work out. But at the end, it really worked out, and we're really happy with the way it came out.
Yeah, getting over the obstacles, you did great. Riley, what was your experience with working as a team and the details? What was your kind of particular interest in that, and how you think you contributed?
It was cool. I just did the sound, so I didn't work a lot on the like when they put together all the shots they wanted to do. But that was fun because I didn't really know how to do that, so it's fun to watch them do that and then learn about that.
Well, I think watching is a great way to learn, and being on a set as a sound person is a great way to learn. And the other part of it is sound is so important. People don't realize that without good sound, the film has problems. So I thought the sound sounded great, and you did a great job. Somebody's asking, how did you come up with the name of the film?
I don't really know. I think it was just a spur of the moment thing, because it was about the connection that the ballerina and the guitar player had. So we were like, okay, why not just name it Connection? Because it's about their connection. Yeah, that's how that happened.
That was neat. Yeah. What would you advise creators and makers just starting out who might doubt themselves, what they might bring to the table? That's a great question. Yessie, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think that what Annika did really well about the screenplay was really just being vulnerable and being able to kind of express like what she really wanted to say. And I think that she just did such a great job with that, and it really brought the film together. And yeah.
Yeah, there was a certain vulnerability that came across, and I think that was one of your intentions, Annika, to be able to put that into a story and pictures, and I think you all did a great job with that. And Riley, being that this is something you're learning, how would you answer that question? What would you say to people who might doubt themselves of what they bring to the table?
I don't know. Just like get a small job, I guess, and then you can just sit back and learn and then do your small job.
I love that. And again, it's not a small job, the job you had. It's actually a very important job, but I know what you're saying, so just be a part of the team and absorb it is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great tip. It really is. I think a lot of people that work on sets as PAs and so on, they end up working as directors and camera, cinematographers and so on. So I think just being part of a team and being on set is a great beginning. Let's see. Are you planning? Oh, let's see. More new comments here. Let's see. How did you go about? Did we say? Oh, how did you go about choosing the actors? That's a great question. And did they audition for the role? And I also have a question of, were you all together doing that, making those choices?
Yeah, so on Backstage, basically people can apply and they have a picture and like a reel of things that they've worked on and like monologues they've done and stuff like that. And then me and Yezi reached out to them and asked them, okay, we like your look. This is the part we want you to read for. Can you send us a video of this? And we basically just went back and forth with a bunch of different actors and we watched their auditions. And I guess I pretty much just go with my gut of who I wanted in the film. Yeah.
Did you enjoy that process, the casting?
Yeah, it was really cool. At the beginning, when people first started applying, there were so many applications, like over 100. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, why do people even want to do this? We're not even paying them. It was really cool to see everyone wanting to work with me. And yeah, it was really fun.
That's great. I love that. Yeah, a lot of actors want to get a reel. It's a really important thing these days for actors. Let's see. How did you come to filmmaking? Why were you? That's a great question. Why were you interested in filmmaking? Riley, you want to share?
I don't know. I always really liked watching movies. Movies are pretty cool. But then I was like, I just wanted to know how they were made. And it was very complicated, apparently. It's not easy.
Exactly. You just said it right. That's so true. A lot goes into it, even a short film. What about you, Yessie?
Yeah, same with Riley, just watching a lot of movies, but also kind of just like looking at like how did they do this, how did they do that, and kind of looking at different colors and how film is like really its own art form. And I really just fell in love with it and was really interested in it and just started doing it, and yeah.
And I bet you'll never look at film again the same way after this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Annika? How did you get interested in film?
Yeah, I mean, I think expressing emotions and art in that way was always felt reachable to me growing up, and filmmaking was like the closest thing. And me and Yezi, we're both interested in film, and we've been friends since like 7th grade, so we were able to share that together, and it was really fun. And I think the biggest thing about film is it's able to manipulate your emotions in a way with different colors or different acting, facial expressions. So many different things go into it, and it's like you would think that since it's art, it's very free form and stuff, but it actually does have a system, and it's an art you can master and manipulate people through different things. So that's really interesting. So that's why I was interested in filmmaking.
Oh, that's beautiful. That yes, it's very true. You can manipulate, and each shot, each element has to have, an intention, right? So that's a wonderful perspective as a young filmmaker to come from that understanding. How much time did the project take from start to finish?
A long time. Writing the script, I think, was like I don't even know, like a couple, 3 weeks. And then filming, we filmed for 4 weekends. So that was a month. And then editing, probably another month. But there's a lot of extra stuff that goes into it. Like before each filming, we had to go like scope out a location, discuss shot types. Like me and Yezi worked together like every time before the shoot to make like a detailed shot list. Okay, close up here, long shot there of the entire thing, and where everything fit together. And we had to learn how to use equipment, learn how to edit. We rented lavs. There was a bunch of stuff, but it was really fun.
Right. This is an interesting question. Also, what was it like working with a friend? Did you guys have any creative clashes, or was it smooth sailing? That's a great question.
Do you want to go, or should I? Okay.
You can go.
Okay. I wouldn't really say any creative clashes. I would say that we sometimes had different visions and like what we want to do for certain shots and stuff, but we kind of just like try them out, and we're kind of like, oh, like how would it be if we tried it this way, or how would it work if we did it another way? And I feel like just having like different perspectives, because I think that we both add like such different perspectives to it, which really made the film really like three-dimensional. So I think that just really pulled the film together. And yeah, I wouldn't really say creative clashes, rather just different perspectives that really added a lot.
Very interesting. How about, do you plan on working on another film outside of school? How about you, Riley? Are you hooked?
Yeah, I want to do more writing rather than this. This is really fun though, but I want to try to like do something more like that, like a comic book.
Like a comic book, did you say?
Yeah, where I could just do like the entire story.
Very interesting. Yeah, well, comic books are kind of like storyboards, right?
Yeah, the only problem is I'm not good at art at all.
Oh, you can get around that. So writing is something you're interested in. Wonderful. And we need good writers, and we need more writers. And with the way the programming is these days, we really can use new ideas. So pursue that. It's a great skill, and such an important skill, and challenging. So we'll look forward to your first screenplay.
Thank you.
Maybe bring it alive with these two very talented young women directing and helping you bring it to life. How about you, Annika? Are you going to pursue another film?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Yezi are thinking of working on a summer film this summer together. And yeah.
Nice. Nice. Do you have an idea, Yezi?
I'm still trying to develop it, but I do have like a general vision of what I want it to be, and I think that like having those bursts of inspiration and having like a really specific vision is like when I know I have a good idea. So I'm really excited for the summer and what we can both bring.
Great. Did you work on any kind of script program, or did you work on you have your own format? You didn't work on any kind of online scripting format program?
Well, we were introduced to Celtics, which is a really free script writing program on just the internet. And it's really helpful because it helps you formatting and it teaches you about just generally like what works and what doesn't. And yeah.
Great. Yeah. Somebody's saying you should submit to festivals, which is a great idea. How much time did the project take? Did we do that? Yeah, we did that. It took a long time, you were saying, right? Let's see. Will Riley do more audio again? Will you do any more sound work?
It was really fun. I don't know though. I don't know.
Sounds like
cool
you're
again though.
Yeah, you might be called up for some work, right? Yeah, it sounds like the writing is your next endeavor. Here's a good question. What are some of the films you like? Maybe some of your favorite, maybe one of your favorite films, your favorite directors.
Well, I like Star Wars. There's an Death Star over there. There's a giant Baby Yoda, and there's an astromech over there. So I've always liked Star Wars.
They're pretty
and
magical.
The music in those ones are obviously awesome. So that was fun. And then they all like their sound effects. So it's fun to like explore how people do that in movies.
Yeah, and they have some great sound effects in Star Wars, right? Yeah, the sound effect part is a whole other element of filmmaking.
Yeah, we didn't get to do that a whole lot in this
Yeah.
one. That'd be really awesome to work on like a sci-fi movie with sound.
That would be really amazing. That's a whole film and it's a whole, discussion in itself. Sound effects. Don't they have an Academy Award? I think they have an Academy Award section for sound effects, or is it sound? I'm not sure. Oh, let's see. What about you, Yesi? Your a film that you're inspired by, or
I would have to say the film that really inspired me to get into film would be La La Land because I think I just really fell in love with just the colors and how like magical the world of film could be, and also like movies like Gravity, Parasite, just any movie that has just a really beautiful visuals. I think I'm just really really gratified toward.
Yeah, nice. And color is a whole element too, right? Working with color.
Yeah.
Annika, what about you?
Yeah, same for me. La La Land was like the first film that I just really, really loved. I think same for Yezi. I love Studio Ghibli movies, Cinema Paradiso, Call Me by Your Name. Yeah, I love all of those. And of course, in Wes Anderson films, like the amount of precision in all of the shots and the cinematography is like incredible. Yeah, and then another thing I was going to say is Bollywood movies actually are really, I think in Bollywood movies, they're so simple, but they convey so much emotion at the same time. And I feel like sometimes in movies now, people try to be too complicated and do so many things, but emotion is simple and it should be portrayed in that way. So I like taking things from Bollywood movies, and also the music is incredible in those too. And yeah.
Yeah, I've enjoyed Bollywood movies. They're amazing. What about genres? Do you have any particular genre that you like? Comedy, drama?
Well, for me, I really like drama because I really like conveying like emotions and conflict and how like just people's minds work, I guess. But yeah, that's just for me personally.
Riley?
Yeah, I like action. Comedy's good, and then I like mystery.
Any good mystery film you could recommend?
I don't know. I like Knives Out a lot. That one's really good. And then also just like confusing films like Inception or Tenet, and then you just want to be like, what's going on? I like those ones too.
Yeah, that was a good one. How about you, Annika?
Yeah, I like drama like Yezi. I guess like romance, feel good movies, comedy. I love all of those.
Fabulous. Well, I think that is about the last of the questions. Unless you want to say one more thing before we say goodbye? We're getting a lot of yays. Congratulations. Knives Out is awesome. What would you like to say to young filmmakers? Let's end on that note. And I just want to end on the note of just fabulous job. Just really, really excellent work. You want to just share like a little inspiration to young filmmakers, maybe to my class, the intro class for documentary, that several of them may move into the advanced class of narrative. Annika, you want to start?
Sure. I think the biggest thing for me is I would always have these ideas and I would be like, okay, now I have to write a script. But like, that was like, I don't even know, how am I supposed to write a script? I don't know the format and all. Like, there was all these things in my mind. But then it's really simple. Like, there's just a format and a website, and it's really easy. Like, there was this big stigma surrounding writing a script and making a movie for me, but it really isn't. It really isn't that hard. You just need an idea and write it down. And I think working with other people and collaborating is the best thing you can do, even if it's just like you and your friend, or you use your iPhone or something like that. Just have an idea, and then stuff comes as you're doing. It doesn't have to be so clear cut at the beginning. Like, the story forms itself. So just, yeah.
Great. Yezi?
Yeah, just if you have an idea, just go out and make a group of friends and just get a camera and just start filming, because you really never know like what's gonna happen. And yeah, I think I'm similar to Annika, where I'm kind of like nervous where to start and I don't know like what to do, and I'm like, oh, in the future, like what am I supposed to like, I'm gonna run into so many problems, like where do I start? But I think, yeah, if you just start, then like it kind of just takes you on a journey. And yeah.
Fabulous. How about you, Riley?
Well, making movies is a lot of fun, and it's cool to learn about that. But I'd say just like grab a notebook and then start writing ideas down, and then that's fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea to have a little notebook right by your bed, right? When you have a dream or wake up in the middle of the night with a brainstorm. Great suggestions. Well, I just want to thank you all for your inspiration, your talents, your willingness to learn and stretch, and all of just the elements that you brought to this beautiful film. And I'll look forward to hearing more about your future work. You have a very bright future, all of you. So keep with it. And we thank the Media Arts Center and Nathaniel for supporting you on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, I'd just like to say thank you to all my friends and family that came to see my film. It means a lot. And to the Digital Gym for providing us with this opportunity. It was really fun.
So great. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun to have you. Well, I am just so impressed with these young filmmakers. We have our intro to documentary class standing by. This is the class that I've been facilitating for the last 12 weeks or more. So we're going to have a little slideshow, I think, first. Is that right, Moises? Of some of the photos, and then bring in the filmmakers? I'm pretty sure that's what we were going to do. We're back here to introduce our students from the Intro to Documentary class. I'm very excited to introduce them. We did 3 films, 3 short films that we'll be showing one by one. So we are going to introduce the first team, and I guess we're waiting for them. There we go. Sophia and Mita worked on, hi both of you. I'm so glad that you're here. We're very excited. Thank you for waiting. We were a little delayed before. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the other advanced class, but it was a lot of fun. Anyway, I am so excited to introduce you to the team and then show your film. So Sophia, do you want to share a little bit, and Mita, let's start with Sophia, what your role was and a little bit what the film is about?
Okay. First off, my name is Sophia, and
we
my
don't
project.
have sound for some reason. Is your sound on, Sophia?
Yeah, my sound's on.
Let's start with Mita and Sophia, and let's see. We need to make sure the sound's working on our end as well. Okay, never mind. It's working. Go ahead.
All right. My documentary is about the history of the Hotel de Coronado and stuff. So actually, my original idea was doing a little film about Marion Bear Canyon. It's a little canyon near where I live and stuff. And I'm like, I was just like thinking of an idea or something. And so I was like, maybe I can like do a little documentary on that, you know, maybe like where it came from, how it formed or something. And maybe do a little tour of the canyon maybe. But then when I was telling my mom, she's like, oh, can you do it on anything? And I'm like, I think, yeah. She's like, how about you do it on the Hotel de Coronado? I'm like, that's actually a good idea, you know? And the cool thing is my papa actually went there when he was serving in the Navy. So he was able to give us a description of what it was like when he was there. So that was pretty cool.
And Mita, you want to share what your role was on the project?
Sure. So my role was like I did a lot of the editing, all the video that we like put together and just editing it.
It was a big job to edit, and you did a fabulous job, both of you working together. And Mita, you were behind the scenes with the pressing the buttons, learning WeVideo online. I just want to, before we watch the film, we did 3 films in this class, and we were limited on location shooting because we decided that just safety reasons, we really wanted to limit the, in-person shooting. So we did 1 location shoot, and we'll be watching 2 of the films that incorporated that video in it. But this project was the challenge of working, learning everything online, editing, learning WeVideo online editing, working with archival footage, coming up with an idea that would be great without having to be on location. So we used a lot of photos and archival footage. We got permission from the Hotel del Coronado to use any of their photos and their video. So the challenge for Sophia and Mita were to figure out how to tell this story without needing to go on a shoot. And they did a great job. We ended up, and they'll tell you more later, interviewing the grandpa on Zoom, right? And so it's a real look at the history of Hotel Coronado through Sophia's grandpa's eyes, and working with how to tell a story through editing, through an interview, through archival footage. So we'll take a look, and then we'll have a chance for the question and answer after. We look forward to having them explain a little bit more of how they put this together, and did a fabulous job. We're ready to roll.
Hey, Papu.
Hi, who is that?
It's me.
It's you. How you doing?
Good. I'm on a film class and I'm doing a little documentary on the Hotel de Coronado. Remember that place?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was okay if I could ask you some questions about what it was like when you were there.
Oh my goodness.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think when I was there 50 years ago. Go ahead. Ask me some questions. I'll see if I can answer them.
All right. Here's my Papu, everybody. This is my class, Papu.
You do understand it was almost 60 years ago.
Kinda not
I
really.
was there. So that was a long, long time ago.
Do you remember like why you went there or something?
Well, of course, it was at that time, it was a famous hotel. It was a little problem to get there because you had to go on the ferry. There wasn't a bridge at that time. They had talked about putting a bridge, but we thought that there was no way in the world they would ever build a bridge from San Diego to Coronado. And of course, we were wrong, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there, actually. We went there normally at night. I was in the Navy. And we went there and went to the bars there, to be truthful, just to have a good time and to meet people is the main reason we went. We were young, wanted to have a good time. It was a famous place too. The first time we went, we just wanted to see it.
Did you know that the hotel was haunted?
No, I didn't actually. I did not know that. No,
Wow.
I didn't. No, it is haunted.
And visitors report flickering lights, inexplicable noises, strange fragrances, and chilling breezes.
Of course, they made the movie there, Some Like It Hot, or that was part of in the movie there. So it made the hotel famous too, it being in the movie. Marilyn Monroe was in it. Tony Curtis was in it.
They made movies here, including the #1 comedy of all time, Some Like It Hot. This romantic romp was filmed at the hotel in 1958 and starred Marilyn Monroe, Jack Lemmon, and Tony Curtis. The Dell has a distinguished presidential past, starting with Benjamin Harrison in 1891, and includes President Taft as well as Nixon's 1970 state dinner, where Presidents Johnson and Reagan were also in attendance.
Jack Kennedy, I believe, yes. Jack Kennedy. In fact, he was shot while I was in San Diego in the Navy, and then Johnson, of course, then assumed presidency. So between those two presidents, between Jack Kennedy and Johnson, were the presidents while I was there. I just missed Sophia is the only thing.
Yep.
So,
as I said,
I'll
he lives
see
in
her this
Kentucky.
summer.
Yep, he lives in Kentucky, so.
Congratulations. We know how hard that was to put together for many reasons, right? Lots of editing. You did a great job with narrowing down that interview to the core elements. We're getting lots of wonderful creative approach to accommodating the pandemic restrictions. Yes. We're hearing we love you. So we're going to have a chance to hear more questions from the audience. We hear from wonderful creative approach. Yes. Okay. Fabulous. So let's just share a little bit, Sophia and Mita. Sophia, tell everybody how we finally got your grandpa to be interviewed. It's tricky, right? Because he lives in Kentucky. So, and he doesn't know how to use any kind of social media really, right? So
yeah, he doesn't really. We do talk sometimes though on FaceTime. I just don't talk to him a lot because I'm busy with school and stuff. And as I said, he does live in Kentucky, so that also makes it a little hard because he can't just like fly here immediately. You know, he has like to plan time to come here. But I do visit him in the summer sometimes. I'm gonna plan to visit him sometime during the summer this year, actually, like I did last year. So and stuff.
Mita, do you want to share how we finally figured out how to interview him?
Yeah, we did it on FaceTime and recorded it, so then we could later put it into the video and edit it.
And we also recorded the Zoom. So the interview was the Zoom, and then we incorporated some of the FaceTime. Would you explain a little bit about why FaceTime wasn't the main interview? Remember, we just used cutaways because there was no audio. FaceTime doesn't record audio. So we recorded the video of FaceTime is basically what we ended up doing. So we were actually in class. Sophia was having a hard time getting connected with him, but we were in class, and I suggested, what about if you call him right now and see if we could record him, right? So Sophia was able to call him while we were in Zoom class, and we pressed, and he was able to do it that moment. And in class, we recorded that interview. So that was really kind of the basic way we got his story. What do you think for you was the most challenging, Mita, that you felt in doing this project?
I mean, a little bit of the editing was challenging, like having to make the cuts right, and then if you don't, you have to kind of like redo it, kind of, and just like getting the exact cuts and putting it all together and make sure the transitions work well. Yeah.
What about you, Sophia? What did you find most challenging?
One of the things I found challenging was like the documentary is around like maybe like 5 minutes or something, but it's crazy because when we like started that interview, it was like 20 minutes long, and we were able to cut back like 15 minutes of it and like still have enough info to tell us about the history of the Hotel de Coronado. So that was pretty cool.
And I have to say, you both did an excellent job with that, because narrowing down an interview that's 20 minutes to 5 minutes means picking out the most important aspects and the challenge of trying to tell a story. And I think you did just such a good job at that. You chose these elements that kind of told about the history of his life, and then a little bit of the history based on the history of the hotel and history in general with the presidents and so on. And then, you know, a nice ending of kind of wrapping it up with your grandpa missing you. So it was hard to do. It's hard to do that, narrow down that interview. And you did a great job with that. You just really had the instincts and worked together really well. You both of you editing that together. And Mita, you were just just fantastic in with WeVideo and figuring out how to, you know, get around the hurdles of learning that online, and you learn very quickly. So, and you did a great job. I know your fingers hurt a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, and I loved how you worked together and deciding what to edit down. I just, for the audience that doesn't know, for an intro class to learn that is, and to learn some of the storytelling techniques is really not easy. And so I feel like you learned a lot from that process. So let's ask the viewers for some questions. Hopefully we have some good questions that they could field to us here on the comments. Let me just make sure I have that on. Anybody have any specific questions out there watching? I did want to say that, how did you find working with the footage from the hotel? You know, the archival documentaries, and how did you find that weaving that in and out of the story? Did you have fun with you were really intrigued with the haunted hotel? Sophia, you want to share?
Yeah. So we were talking about the Hotel de Coronado, and while we were talking about it, one of our mates in the group was like, "Oh, maybe you should do something about the haunted part." And I was like, "What? It's haunted?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Give me a second, let me look that up." So I just went online. I'm like, Hotel de Coronado, and then I mentioned something about this woman, Kate Morgan, committing suicide, and they say that's why the certain part of the hotel and a certain room is haunted. So, and I mentioned that in the little history video we found and stuff. So we used a lot of clips from that video to go with the interview.
Which I love the way you use those. You really brought in, you know, I love the whole concept of learning about the history through your grandpa, and then you were able to find the archival footage that kind of matched that, and you know, the bridge, that there was no bridge, and you know, finding things that would represent footage that would represent his explaining that. I loved the whole story of the presidents, and I loved his part that he was there when President Kennedy was president, and then President Kennedy was shot. So I love the way that you found those, you know, clips to enhance his story, which is really great. What do you think you learned from this process? That what did you find the most inspiring about making a documentary and learning how to put something together that told a story? Mita?
Well, like definitely a lot of the editing and also the film shooting. Yeah.
We'll come back later. You'll join us for the Chicano Park project. Yeah, so you'll talk a little bit about the filming. You were very involved on the shoot. So, but this, you found that you learned the most about editing. Is that right in this? What about like storytelling? Do you feel like in the editing process you started learning more about storytelling?
Yeah.
By having to make those decisions. Do you think you'll end up becoming an editor?
I don't really know.
You don't know. Do you like editing?
Yeah. It's like a chance to like really be creative, and I like doing creative stuff. So
yeah, you did a great job with that. What about you, Sophia? What do you think you learned from this process that is sort of a takeaway?
I learned that documentaries don't have to be really long. They can be a few minutes if you want them to. And we also learned how to make like even like just an interview into like a really long interview into like a little documentary that can tell the history of a certain place and stuff.
Yeah, and I love that, and I love I love your grandpa's part in it. You know, you can make a documentary about the hotel, but coming from a personal perspective, and how maybe you could share how you came up with the idea, like because you remember your grandpa telling you about it. How did it come to be something you wanted to work on personally?
Well, several years ago, my papa came to visit and stuff, and while he was here, we went to the Hotel de Coronado and stuff, and we were walking around, and I was amazed. I was like, oh my god, this place is so cool looking around and everything. And it still has most of its original structure and stuff, so that's really cool. And then, like I said in the beginning, I was thinking of doing this documentary on something else, but then my mom asked, you can do it on anything, right? And anything in San Diego? And I said, yeah, I think so. And she's like, well, do it on the Hotel de Coronado. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, ooh, maybe I can ask my papu if he can tell us a little bit about it, you know, since he said he went there and stuff. So, yeah.
It was very endearing. I loved it. He was very sweet too, and I loved, you know, the generation, you know, between you as a young filmmaker and him trying to figure out this technology and what am I supposed to do here. It was very sweet. And Mita, so what did you find with the storytelling that was the most challenging for you as an editor?
Or
even not, it doesn't even have to be the storytelling or anything that you found most challenging in doing this.
I mean, challenging was also like getting good clips and getting transitions right. Yeah.
Transitions are really important. And I think you did great with that. And WeVideo has some great tools for that. Whoop, I think somehow, I don't know if her plug went out, but any questions from the audience? And if not, we'll with a final note before we go on to the next project. We have to get James's project in because I believe he has to leave a little early. And then we'll come back to Sophia and Mita for the last project because they were very involved in cinematography and doing location shooting for that. Is there anything that you want to share to people who want to make a documentary? What you might inspire them to do in approaching it? Especially for your intro documentary filmmaker. So we're hearing great job, Sophia and Mita. Somebody's writing here. I don't know who that is, but yes, another one. Great job. Anyway, what would you do to inspire somebody that is just starting out? You both didn't have any experience with documentaries or even a lot of filmmaking. So why don't you share what maybe somebody who's moving into the intro class, what you can encourage them with?
I think some things I would tell them is it's never too late to start filmmaking. You know, you can like start it whenever, and it can be about even the tiniest thing. You know, it can be about your dog or something, or it can be about a certain area. It can be about anything. If you put your mind and creativity to it, you can like turn your like even like a simple thought or a simple idea into something like cool in like a cool film and stuff. You know. You can like use your imagination, your creativity, and see what that can become in the future.
Love that, Sophia. Thank you. Mita, what about you?
Maybe also like make the film about what you're really interested in. That can help you, like, if you get stuck, just to keep going.
I love that. Yeah, there's a point that you're like, what is this going to turn into? This is, you couldn't really understand that this is actually going to become something, right? And you stuck with it, and then it sort of started clicking. So that's a great advice. We do have a question here. What would you do? What would you have done differently if you had more time to work on it? Which is a great question, because time, we really were kind of squeezed. And of course, you know, the challenges of working, everything we did was online. Zoom, our classes, everything was online. So I think everybody was getting a little burned out on Zoom and you know, working on a lot of online programs. But what would have you, if you had another week or two to work on it, what do you think you might have done?
I don't know, maybe added a little bit more. I don't, because we had it, I mean, like how long it should be limit, but yeah. And if we could go in person, then probably would have got like, maybe have gone to the hotel to take our own shoots instead of like using other people's. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a challenge to not have a lot of to have to work with a documentary without doing location shooting. But with the limitations, I think you still learned a lot about the process. And yes, of course, the on location enhances this a lot. But I think you did, you know, just with the limitations, you worked to the max. So maybe you could take the advanced class and do some more locations shooting next time. Now things are opening up. Sophia, what about you? What would you have done?
I was kind of thinking maybe we could go to the hotel too and stuff, and like see if we can shoot some areas, you know, maybe even actually see if we can go into the haunted part of the hotel and stuff, and maybe actually see if we can, like, maybe even go into the room and like get a little shot of the room, you know, like now and stuff, you know. And who knows, maybe while we're filming we might not see something, but when we're looking back at the film we might actually see a ghost or something. We might see Kate Morgan, who knows, you know, because that does happen when you first film, you know, you don't really notice anything, but when you're looking back at the film to see what you got, you actually sometimes see something. So that would be cool.
That's great. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your incredibly hard work. You just hung in there. You were there every week, just kind of plugging away and just so dedicated. I'm just so grateful. It's been just fun working with you. I mean, we had a little laughs here and there and just really just fun to guide you into this big challenge of working online and doing a great job. So congratulations. Look forward to having you share the next time with the what do you call it? Chicano Park project. So we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. We're getting thank yous. Okay. I think we have James. Great. Hi, James. Thank you for your patience. We're a little here. Strange sounds going on. How's that? We've got a problem here. Hold on one sec. Let me see. Hang in there, everybody. Tech problem with sound. I'm just letting noise know. Hang in there.
Is it better now?
That's better. What was that? That was funny.
I think I changed my microphone.
Oh, it sounded like a beetle was in your computer. I love it. Well, welcome, James. I just want to introduce James, who's worked so hard on his project. and he produced, directed. Why don't you tell them a little bit and tell them what it's about?
Okay, so I started this like program with a friend, and we had like this mutual idea of doing a documentary on how teens are struggling during online learning. And after a few classes, he had to leave, so the project was kind of put on me, and I had to kind of go through some things that we didn't finish. And since we did collaborate on a few things, I have to give him a bunch of credit because he kind of came up with the idea. But I'm really glad that I got this opportunity. And this documentary is called Teens in Isolation. It's about kids struggling and how it's affecting their grade and their mental health, and how are they adapting to this new world.
And you worked on it, directing, producing. We did a little bit of, want to talk about the field shoot that we did at Chicana Park and how that we incorporated that?
Yeah, so when we shot Chicana Park documentary, I did 2 interviews while we were there, and this little alleyway that was perfect. There was murals. It was a great shoot. The scenery was amazing, and the audio was kind of difficult to do, but the experience was amazing, and I don't think we could have shot at a better location.
Yeah, it was great. So we used that footage for the other project, and we took the advantage of that time. And anyway, I'm just want to emphasize James pretty much did everything in this project you're going to see. So we're ready to roll, and then we'll have a chance for questions and answers. And Moises.
America's COVID crisis marked a new milestone today. Total confirmed cases topped 19 million.
Pandemic to America's children now and what's happening in our schools. From New York to Texas to Minnesota, what we found tonight.
There is nothing we want more than to be with our students. We love them, and we know how important in-person learning is.
Emergency rooms have seen an astounding spike of mental health visits for kids 5 to 11.
Arguments led to other arguments, which then led to us admitting that we were all extremely stressed because we didn't know what was going to happen with school. We didn't know how we were going to promote. We didn't know anything.
School as well, it's like it deteriorates your mental health sometimes, especially because you have to adapt to a new learning environment when you've never done it before.
Definitely, like, my routine has changed. Like, I've actually been, I might have like been late to a few classes, so I'm like, shoot, I don't want to be late. Like, I'm usually like
out because I get very distracted easily during online. We used to be straight A students, like the best grades we could possibly get, and we completely just got burned out from going to online school. A's to C's and D's with technology and everything. You're about to get distracted, you know, like. Before quarantine happened, I was friends with so much people. I was so happy. When you go into quarantine, you realize that they're not really your friends. They're just school friends.
My mental health got affected in the sense of when I was going to school, I'd be laughing and everything, you know, having fun. After quarantine, we all started, well, I at least started getting sadder, a lot sadder. I had no one to talk to. It was pretty much like feeling empty.
I don't want to catch COVID and stuff because it can be scary, especially after how many people have died. Like over like several million people have already died worldwide and stuff. So it's pretty scary and stuff. Like,
I got really depressed over quarantine.
So there has been some positives, but there's also been some negatives, you know. Because you've been living in isolation for like a year now and stuff, so it's been hard. People are losing touch with their friends and family and stuff, and like loved ones are dying because of COVID, and it's just been a really hard time for everybody.
1, 2, 3,
We got through it. We got through it. We got through it.
Okay, that was good.
Wow, fantastic. It's really wonderful to see on this platform. I have a little heartstrings going with just thinking about the hard work that you put into the amazing work you put into it, and just the story of here we're just coming out of the pandemic, and you highlighted so well the struggles, the mental health struggles, and then getting through it. I mean, that there were times even on our Zoom class that you all were feeling so much fatigue from it, and just really, we were in the midst of it when we started this class. So there's something really wonderful about you documenting that and bringing that to the forefront. It's something that we'll never forget, and you did such a great job with the production, the editing. We have a comment here: powerful portrait of youth resilience.
Thank you.
That's really well said. I know you're applying for a film festival, the Ivy Awards, and a few film festivals. Was this your first project that you've ever done, a documentary at least?
It was my first documentary. I've been in a lot of like projects. Like I even started here at Digital Gym in like second grade, and I would take like classes. We would make a video, and then like at the end of the week or whatever it was, we would have a premiere of all the videos in the theater. So I think that's what really started it, because I've always like loved to like, even if it's just like videos on like my old iMac or like, just different stuff like that. I've always had like a passion for making videos and making films. So I think adding a documentary to my collection was definitely a big step, and it kind of inspired me to do more, because I definitely had a lot of ideas. So,
well, I have a lot of questions, but let's also, the audience, if you have any questions, please add in the comments. And while we're waiting, let's ask James. I want to get a sense of what you learned that was different in making a documentary, because this is really, there's lots of aspects of filmmaking that are different with documentary. So what did you most find challenging, and what did you learn?
Most of the films I've been in, I was acting in it, so there was lines and everything was like scripted, so we knew exactly what we're gonna do, what we're gonna say, how we're gonna say it. So I think what was challenging when making a documentary is you're interviewing someone, you don't have a script, like they're just saying what they feel like saying. So it's kind of hard to narrow down like a 20-minute interview with a lot of ums and wells, because I want like the most powerful part of the interview. So I'm trying to script and navigate a documentary without having like an actual script, or like knowing what they're gonna say was kind of difficult compared to like a scripted film or short film.
That's really so true. I mean, there are some documentaries that have narration, right? If you have a narrator, but your project really relied on how do you piece together these interviews and come up with a kind of a structure that we talked about, the act 1, act 2, act 3 into a short film, and how do you narrow all of those interviews down? I mean, there was a lot to narrow down, and I feel like you just nailed it with getting those most emotional moments, and that really kind of told the essence of this story emotionally for the students, and then the larger story of COVID and that sort of thing. So did you find yourself wrestling with that and trying different cuts, or how did, tell me more about that?
Yeah, I have there's so many different versions of this. There's interviews that I have that I didn't even put in, because not only am I working with a time limit in the actual end product, but also a time limit in when it's due or when it needs to be done. So it was definitely kind of hard because I had so much to use and I wanted to use all of it in a certain amount of time. So I had to pick and choose the best parts. So I think everyone that was in the interviews were amazing. I the emotion in it, the honesty. I don't know how they did it. It was amazing to see people vulnerable on camera in front of everyone. So I'm really proud of all the interviewees, and yeah.
Yeah, me too. I really feel like, maybe knowing them as friends. And I'm thinking back of when two things I'm thinking, sort of you're knowing these people as friends, and in our class, you have a certain trust level. But I remember our first class, or one of the first classes, when you were struggling, well, how do you interview somebody? Remember that? And I said, well, let's experiment and let's do it now. Why don't we practice? And you want to share a little bit about that experience for you, what you learned? Because I feel like you just kind of got it. It took a while, but you finally kind of got it. So what did you learn from that?
I interviewed someone and I was interviewed, and it kind of put me in the interviewee's position, and it kind of taught me how to give them time and let them say what they need to say. And then it gave me as interviewee a time to say oh, well, this is what I'm going to say, and I need to plan it out. And so I kind of got to learn both the roles of being interviewed and interviewing. So I think that played a huge part in getting such good interviews.
Yes, I agree. And I think there was another piece of it that we discussed, not asking robotic questions, but asking, from your own experience, so kind of being able to ask a question with an emotional element to it to bring out the emotions. And I think you started to do that more, and that you were able to access Janelle telling a more emotional story. You had some good questions that went to the heart of it. Don't be afraid to ask about mental health, and don't be afraid to share that other people that have gone through this. So I think you did really a great job at asking questions that initiated that. And I'm just curious, what you did Final Cut Pro, right? Can you share about that you didn't edit on WeVideo, and a little bit more about the graphics and all of that?
Yeah, so I used to use iMovie when I was younger, and then I started learning more about Final Cut Pro, which is a more advanced version of iMovie. So I kind of had a few years of experience making this because I've been using it for a while, but it is kind of difficult because it's not a simpler interface. You have to do all these certain commands, and it's intricate instead of there being pre-made options. I kind of had to do a lot of the transitions and stuff myself. For example, when there was the text and it was a team producer's project, I had to do that myself with my parents' phone, and I was just texting myself and screen recording. So I think that like giving me some creative freedom and being able to do it myself kind of also played a big part in the film, because I feel like it wouldn't be as good if it was like a pre-made template or something like that.
I love that. I didn't know that you did that with the text. That's fantastic, and I love the graphic elements. I love the way you brought in those headlines, and all of those parts made it very contemporary. The texting part, really, I think young people relate to that. I love the way you started, the project with that. And the way you incorporated the news footage too. You chose some of the right on kind of news stories that related to the subject of online learning and mental health. And so just all of these things are so challenging to put together. And for a first-time young documentary filmmaker, you just really did such a great job. I told you I would love to see you continue doing this. I mean, even when we were in the location shoot, I could see how you think in story. Like when you're even shooting, you have a story going on in your head already, which helps as the cinematographer, and vice versa. So I saw you doing this on the set, that, as you were interviewing them, I could see you already editing in your mind. So that skill is pretty advanced. So thank you for that, for being able to bring all these elements of yourself and the things you've learned and that you're still learning, and your skills with editing and learning more advanced skills of editing, like you did with the graphics and all those other things you did. There's so much creativity in it, and it shows. So bravo. And I want to know what personally this film meant to you, and what you'd like to see in the next phase of your learning experience.
I think this film was more personal because I saw like a huge change. My parents saw a huge change. Like my friends saw a huge change in, like, even just in me, like my grades, how I was acting, my personality. I feel like going online was very difficult because I like being a person. I like being able to communicate different educational wise. So I feel like it was hard for me to learn online. So I knew I wasn't the only one. I knew there was hundreds, thousands of kids that were also, struggling. So I think being able to connect with the idea of the film was a huge part. And I don't know, I feel super, I'm so happy that I was able to relate with other people and talk to other people about the same struggles and make this a final project.
Wow, that is powerful. Really, how you use the struggle in your own personal experience, how you use it so creatively, to kind of process it and move out of that into, like even the way you ended it, we got through this. You were all of you, you personally, and you did that through your creative voice. I mean, that is really powerful. And I think I can tell you from being a documentary filmmaker, a lot of documentary filmmakers process their own lives through documentary storytelling. And there's sort of a healing almost for a lot of filmmakers that I know to do a film about something that's so meaningful to them, and then connect with the rest of the world to know that they're not alone. Wow. So when you were hearing from Janelle and Sophia and your friends that you interviewed, what did you feel like a solidarity? Can you just kind of share that?
I felt relieved. I felt like doing this online learning and like this new way of life in general, I felt like how Janelle said, like alone, kind of like, because I have younger siblings, so I don't really have like someone that I live with to be like, oh, well, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. So being able to talk to people my age about what's happening and learning that it's not just me, it was just very therapeutic.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. And tell me what do you think is your next step with learning and filmmaking? What do you want to do? Do you want to go make another documentary? What's your vision?
I would love to have a feature film based on kind of like with this, not like COVID, but like teen life and like current events and just like a day-to-day life of being a teenager in like 2021 and just focusing on the culture and the lives.
But a narrative, not documentary. You'd rather
yeah, like a scripted
nice film. Did you see the advanced class films? You can so if you have a chance to take the advanced class in narrative, I think you're so ready for that, and it'll be a great next step. And if you move in that direction, you'll learn also a lot on top of what you've already done. So I'm just so impressed with all your hard work, and it's just been such a joy having you in the class. Thank you, James.
Thank you
very much. Keep us posted on the festivals, and you're going to join us, I hope. I don't know if you have time, but if you can, in the next project, if you have a few minutes for the Chicano Park. But if not, I know you had another engagement to do. So, but thank you. Your video's going to be online on YouTube. So. Thanks again, James. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank
you. Okay. Thank you. Great. Well, we're ready for the next and last project, produced by Janelle and Lisbeth, who is not able to be here. And I think James might be coming in too, although he may not. I know he had to go somewhere, so I'm not sure if he's going to be here. But and Sophia and Mita and James were part of the cinematography crew, so they'll be able to be adding their experiences there. I just want to see if James is coming. Thank you, Janelle, also for being so patient for the long wait here with all the projects. So thank you. Well, welcome. Janelle, do you want to share what your project's about and just tell what your role was?
Sure. So the project is about Lisbeth and what Chicano means to her.
And how did you tell that story?
The way we told that story was to talk about her and her family and what makes being Chicano.
Right. And do you want to, Mita or Sophia, do you want to tell the story about how the Chicano Park kind of fit into that? Mita, do you want to share?
Yeah. So we went to Chicano Park to do some shooting of the murals there.
Right. And so they explored in this documentary of how Lisbeth, who is not here, but the project is focused on her, how she found out about her heritage through the beautiful murals in Chicano Park. And Sophia and James and Mita and Janelle, that was our big day of filming. They did all of the cinematography, the sound of all these beautiful murals. And Janelle edited it with my help because Lisbeth could not help finish. And it was quite a big project to edit down. And you did an incredible job, you and Lisbeth, in narrowing things down. So let's take a look at it, and then we'll come back for some question and answers as soon as we're finished with it. So we're ready to roll.
Chicano Park is located in Barrio Logan, San Diego. It's an area where it's a lot of Latin culture, a lot of Chicano culture. So Chicano means Mexican American. So you're the first American descent from your Mexican family. That's what I identify as Chicana. Both of my parents are from Mexico. They were born and raised there. They came to San Diego. My mom came here when she was 18. My dad came here when he was in high school. I had gone to Barrio Logan when it was around Dia de los Muertos, so Day of the Dead. And they had decorated it with a lot of marigold flowers and a lot of Dia de los Muertos traditional decorations. When I was there, I also saw the murals that they had made. So the paintings of like the history of Chicanos and the Chicano movement and Cesar Chavez and everything. A lot of the culture is for me, that's my history that I don't know about. And I just wanted, because a lot of people don't know about the park or about beauty in it. There's this mural, it's a timeline of the Chicano culture. And so our traditions and also our movements with Cesar Chavez. And that's one of my favorite ones because it's like a sum up of my whole history, my whole what's part of me as a Chicana. It's a sum up of what I didn't know. In my research, I talked to my cousin and she had told me about her uncle who was really a part of the Chicano Park organization and its traditions and its culture and its murals. From my understanding, he was also part of most movements. When he died, his wife, his fiance, made a mural of him at Chicano Park to show that he was part of the Chicano movement. He was part of this family, this community, because he had impacted a lot of people. What I would tell the mural artists about their murals, about what they've done and the painting and the work they've done, I'd be grateful and I'd appreciate them, because without them, I wouldn't know what my own culture is through those paintings, through those murals. Because with every single mural, every single painting that is done at Chicano Park has a story. And if you go to Chicano Park, there is almost 1,000 murals there. And there's 1,000 stories to be told with each and every one. And I just find that amazing. So the murals are sort of like activists, but through their art. And it's growing me, it's making me an activist myself for my own people. And I myself I like to paint, and I'm even hoping that I could work on my art skills more and hopefully one day create a mural for them too.
Really great. It looks great. I love seeing it on this platform. We have somebody saying, Ethan, wonderful Ethan, saying, congratulations, teen producers. Yes, we have a clapping hand here. I guess that's Tanya. That's Janelle, your mom. I guess your parents are watching. Everybody, you can take off you're on mute, so you can unmute. I just loved this project. The fact that you all here. Let's read this wonderful testimonial and an important local history. That says it all. It is a beautiful park with those murals, and you all captured it so well by spending that 4 hours down at Chicano Park with cameras, and you were all so inspired. Do you want to share a little bit about that day and what that experience was like as first time with the camera and learning all of the things you have to learn about working with a camera and shooting without a lot of hands-on experience? Mita, you want to share your experience?
Yeah. So for me, it was a little bit easier because my grandpa does photography, and he was showing me. He's like teaching me a lot, and so it was like easier to know the camera and like the buttons, and yeah.
And how was it for you to be part of the team down there together, working together?
It was pretty good, like kind of working in teams, like, oh, what mural do we like to taking like videos of it, like scrolling the camera up to get the whole like mural because they're pretty tall.
Yeah. Did you find that panning with the camera? Did you have to take a couple of different shots of each mural sometimes?
Yeah.
How about you, Janelle? What was your experience like working down at the park together?
It was great. I have to say that it was the first time I ever worked with an actual camera. So I think the experience was super cool, and I feel like I understood how to work the camera more than what I thought I actually knew.
And I just want to make a comment about you. You were really great at kind of identifying certain murals that you already knew in your mind, the story you wanted to tell about Lisbeth. We didn't end up using it in the clip, but there was one beautiful mural of the wings of a bird, and you were imagining Lisbeth expanding her wings from this whole learning experience of her discovering her heritage. So I just watched you kind of thinking about telling that story while you were shooting at the park, which is a great skill to have, identifying visuals that might help tell that story. So keep that up. You were scoping things out. That's a great skill. What about you, Sophia? You had fun that day.
Yeah, it was fun, especially meeting the whole group in real life, because we've all been online for like every single week except for that one day where we finally get to get out and actually like film stuff for the first time. So that was really cool, and it was also cool because where we were in Chicano Park, the Coronado Bridge was actually like right there and stuff. There was lots of different little highways going onto the Coronado Bridge and stuff, so we were able to get a couple shots of the Coronado Bridge a little and stuff. So
right, and we had a little bit. We were going to use that for our piece, but we did have some issues with sound because it was so loud by the highway.
Yeah, it was so loud.
We were limited to just using the road mic and not lavaliers, so we had to move for the shoot, for James's shoot, to a side street to get some good interviews. But we did get some good B-roll, and unfortunately we couldn't use your interview about we were right under the Coronado Bridge, right? And Sophia was explaining this is the bridge over to her to the Hotel Coronado. So but that's
like
all.
right there and stuff. And you can like see the crib where it was like actually going onto the bridge, kind of. But unfortunately, it was a little like the wind and like the highway was interfering with the sound and stuff, so it was making it a little hard to hear me talking. So we couldn't use any of the interview.
Right, and we kind of knew that if we didn't have the access to the lavaliers, but it did help us help you all to learn some issues about sound and what to look for and what kind of mics you need. We discussed that beforehand, and we were probably concerned about the noise there for interviews. So, but we did find that side street for James's interview, which is great. We do have a question here from the audience. What did you enjoy the most about the class? How about let's start with Janelle.
The thing I enjoyed most about the class would probably be learning to use the camera.
Nice. What about you, Sophia?
I think one of the most fun things about the class was kind of learning what it was like to actually make a little film and stuff. Because I'm thinking of maybe when I grow up to be a producer and stuff and produce films and shows and TV shows and maybe documentaries and the news even, if that has to come to it and stuff. So this class kind of gave me an idea of what it was like, to actually work on a film for the first time, and what a producer's job is kind of to do. They have to make sure everything's in order, make sure things are getting done on time and stuff, and make sure everybody's contributing and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you really did learn a lot this class and how to do that. You were always aware and alert, and and how all these elements are coming together. That you all got to see how this unfolded. What about you, Mita? What did you most enjoy about the class?
Probably the editing.
The ending when it was finished?
No, the editing.
Oh, the editing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you have a knack at that. Unbelievable. You're just plowing through. And Janelle, you edited this project. I helped you a lot because you were expecting Lisbeth there, who was having computer problems and she was having conflicts with her work. So you, in the middle of this editing, it was like suddenly you had to face this all by yourself. I mean, I think you did edit. You were amazing in editing down the interview, which we did with Lisbeth on Zoom, thankfully. She wasn't able to come to the shoot. Our plan was to have her come to the shoot and interview her, but we did get her on Zoom. So you had to edit all that down to a story. It was a big project. So you want to express a little bit about your experience in editing that down and the challenges of editing, how hard it is, and what you like about it.
Yeah, I'd say it was really challenging because, it was kind of the main thing the whole project was about. Since Lisbeth wasn't there, I struggled a lot because I'm I don't know what would work best for what she wanted. And then I think I enjoyed the most of editing was the whole story coming to life.
Yes, and I think you did a great job narrowing down that interview, and you had really good instincts of remembering that you shot the footage of her uncle. Like you remembered that we had that shot, and that would be good here, and the flag, and you were with her photos of her family, all of these things, and there was no way that an intro class could understand the complexity of editing, but you were really getting the hang of it. And we even needed more time to fine tune the music. There was a lot we wanted to do, right? To put more music in and fix the sound and all that. But I think just with what you did, all of it was fabulous. And learning WeVideo, which is a challenge, right? So say, Sophia, well, let's have another question here. There's somebody asking. Okay, what was the most challenging part about creating the video? We answered a little bit of it, but let's go around. Sophia, what do you think was the most challenging? We're talking about the shoot for you because you were on the shoot, not so
Right.
much the project, but yeah, during the shoot day.
I think one of the challenging parts was when I was filming and stuff. We had the mic and stuff, but the mic kept falling off the camera and stuff, so we had to be careful when we were moving the camera or when we were trying to film at a certain angle and stuff, because the mic would fall off, and so we had to like be careful with the mic because they weren't really on right. So yeah, but I managed to.
There was
I
one.
managed to get them soon.
Yeah, there's something with one of those Rode, mic cases that wasn't holding it. I forget exactly what it was, but it wasn't the right size or something. Yeah, so we'll have to look at that. But you did a great job, and we didn't have a boom pole, which would have helped. Everything was of the mic on the camera, but the sound was good, and you got close enough to for the interviews and so on. What about you, Mita? What was challenging for you at the shoot?
Well, definitely finding ways to not the sound. The sound was hard to get because it was very loud. So kind of you had to go away from the freeways to get the right sound.
Right. For B-roll, it didn't really matter though, because we can lower the sound in the. We didn't use sound for a lot of the cutaways for that. So the B-roll was, usable, but the interviews, we had a good experience when we did the interviews for James's project by going on the side streets, although there was a dog barking, right? But we worked around that. You just have to sound is so important. I think you learned a lot about sound on this location shoot. We knew that there was a lot of traffic there, so we did well in getting around that. What about you, Janelle? Just in terms of the whole project, aside from that, it was a massive project, to kind of handle, and that suddenly you found that you had to edit alone. But aside from that, what was the most challenging part about creating the video for you?
Learning WeVideo. Learning how to use WeVideo. I struggled a lot with that.
Yeah. It's almost like we could have used a couple of more sessions with that. And the hard part is we were plunging into having to edit the video. So we had to learn, because I was also learning it, because most of the classes at Media Arts Center are when they're in person, because when there's no COVID restrictions, they're not using WeVideo. So it's a great program it was a great program for this period of time when we couldn't meet in person. But there's little things about it that you can only learn as you go. But you were picking it up. I think you were picking it up pretty well. It's not an easy task, especially when you're thinking about all the other things that you're thinking about, like how do I edit this down? And so I think you've learned a lot, and it would be worth your while to keep practicing, because it really is about doing it. You're not alone. You're not alone. So what else, what did you find inspiring about the subject and the Lisbeth and her quest, and how did it impact you personally to hear her finding her heritage through the murals? Janelle, you want to share?
I found it very inspirational how she expressed it, how when she saw those murals, she automatically was like, this is how it connects to me.
Yeah. And what did you think about the art, the murals?
They were beautiful, like really pretty.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Looking at them, you
Yeah.
can kind of get an idea what the story was trying to be told while you look at the painting or the mural.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you did really well at sort of taking it all in and telling her story. Here's a question, I think, here. Oh, I'm hearing great film. Oh, that was from James. Great film, James. That was from before. I guess I had missed that. Ladies, is there something you would like to continue learning? Great question. Mita, would you like to share?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to continue learning more about making videos and films.
Great. Well, there's some good advanced classes I think you're ready for moving into if you're up for that. Narrative is a whole different ball game, and I think it's good to explore both mediums. I would keep learning your editing too, because maybe looking into different editing programs like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro. Adobe Premiere, I think the Media Art Center works with in person. So it's a great program, much more advanced, but I think you would pick it up very easily with how well you picked up WeVideo. Sophia, what about you? What do you think about your next step?
I think I would continue studying film and stuff and doing the film camps and stuff, because I feel like if I'm gonna be a producer someday, I need to kind of even though I probably a producer won't really work with the camera a lot, they still need to know how it works and stuff, because they would probably contribute to it and stuff, and be like, okay, well, if we make this adjustment here, and have to probably show what they mean, what they wish to adjust and stuff. And yeah, so I'll probably continue this.
Great. You have a knack, so keep with it. Keep with it. And Janelle, what about you? What's your next step, if anything?
Working with the cameras is really fun, so I'd like to understand more about how the cameras work.
Great. Just a side note on that, there's a few documentaries out about women cinematographers. I think it's women or something about women with a camera. I forget the name of it, but you could Google, and it's very inspiring. Some of the up and coming filmmakers, cinematographers are really great women filmmakers. So there's a lot to learn about cinematography, and it's fascinating. So I encourage that. We have another question here. Love the modern techniques used. Very well done. Great editing, professional look, and very interesting topic. That's not so much a question as a comment. I love what this comment is saying, that it does have a professional look, and I think that you actually went out and got some great shots with the B-roll. There was a lot of visual appeal to it, and the topic I think is fascinating. Let's explore that a little bit more about doing a film like this, where if you were making a film about finding a little bit more about yourself through filmmaking, through a documentary, does anybody want to share what an idea might be that you would make a documentary like Lisbeth did in discovering her heritage? What might you want to explore about yourself and your family or whatever? Anything come to mind? Janelle, do you have a thought at all?
I'm thinking. I'm not sure.
It's a tough question. What about you, Sophia?
I think I might actually see if I can find something out about my grandpa and stuff. He sadly passed when I was 2 years old, but before that, he was like a firefighter and stuff. And went to all these different kinds of fire stations. Has all these different kind of fire station patches, and so I'm thinking maybe I can like look at those patches and see if I can go to those fire stations he went to and stuff, and maybe like, hey, like maybe ask some of the senior firefighters if they knew my grandpa, and stuff, and be like, whoa, so he was actually here, and you actually knew him. That's so cool because I don't remember him at all.
That's wonderful. And you started to do a little bit of this kind of exploration of your family with the Coronado project, with your grandpa. So it seems like you're real interested in finding out about your family history through documentary. And you have a lot of skills from the Coronado project to use, like archival footage, photos, of your grandpa, learning your history. It's a wonderful kind of genre for making documentaries to explore your family history. So I encourage that. I think you'd have a lot of fun with that, and getting any kind of old footage and photos and journal letters. We talked about that in our class, all the different visuals you can use for that. So great. What about you, Mida?
I don't know either. I don't really know.
You were starting to explore, maybe your family does circus stuff. Is that right? Haven't you done some clown work and all that? You were starting to explore a project about that. Was that something you would ever work on?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, we were curious to see what you could do with that circus, with your acrobatics. But anyway, that's the kind of thing, doing personal films about interesting things people would be interested in, or even that you want to unearth something about your family history. So great ideas. And I just want to congratulate you for doing such a great job in this class and coming every week as hard as it was on Zoom. I mean, you just hung in there. So thank you. I know I was like your cheerleader, but you showed up and you worked so hard and you put so much creativity and ideas. And I'm always completely amazed by the innate kind of gifts that each youth brings to a project. And I saw so much of that in this class with you 3 and 4, 5 really, because Lisbeth and James, of course. So thank you. I will always appreciate our time together, and just keep on going, keep moving with everything you share that you want to pursue. I'm here as a resource if you ever need anything. Just give me an email or a call. I'd be happy to guide you as you move through this fun journey. It's been great. Thanks so much, you guys. Thank you for everybody for showing up. So appreciate your time and interest, and it's been just a great class. I thank the Media Arts Center for their incredible work. I just see the youth in these classes just growing so much, both as themselves, as individuals and as young filmmakers. So I encourage anybody that knows a student to sign them up. Thanks again.